We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali. As always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Loss. And Dom, we thought maybe it could be a trap game, and it looked like it was going to be for a little bit there. But the Bills end up outlasting the Indianapolis Colts. Ended up, it was a pretty solid game, 30-20, a little garbage time action from the Colts there. Made it, lessen the deficit. But I guess before we dive in here, I'm going to highlight a couple players, the Dom 5. What are your thoughts about the game as a whole, just exiting coverage from it?
Well, it was a intriguing game. The start was good. Right, you're up to nothing.
Yes.
Had a lot of momentum, and then all of a sudden it's 13-10, and the kickoff gets fumbled, and it's like, oh my God, the Colts had the ball in plus territory with 5 minutes to go in the half, or already up 3 and getting the ball in the second half. So definitely, and then all of a sudden they're up 30 to 13, and they're just cruising, and it's like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
What a roller coaster! But it was funny. It was only 1 o'clock game that was really a blowout, and it didn't really feel like a blowout if you were a Bills fan for the first 3 quarters of the game. So
No, it wasn't.
It was a good slate. It was a good slate of games.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't until the literal fourth quarter where they started really laying it on. And like I said, it was 30-13. That's the score in my mind at the end of the day. They played soft coverage. The Colts kind of just went down, scored. Joe Flacco bought himself another week as the starting quarterback. A lot of Colts fans with the free A. Rich sign. Did you see that? And also, Colts staff taking those signs away from them in the stadium. One guy survived and said, "You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man," in a post on social media. So I just thought that was intriguing. The team itself.
I'm not surprised that you thought that was intriguing.
A stadium taking signs away from fans. I don't think I've ever seen that unless it was something like heinous. But the Colts are an interesting team to say the least right now. They don't have the Browns' Joe Flacco. We can say that much. But getting into it here, I do want to take a moment, highlight a couple Bills players that really, were the reason they won. Allen, 2 interceptions. We're just going to get that out of the way. Were they both his fault? Was he the reason the game was close? You can have your own opinion on that. He did score a rushing touchdown, went 22 for 37 for 280 yards with those 2 picks and 1 rushing touchdown. But on the ground, James Cook really led the day with 19 carries for 80 yards with 1 rushing touchdown. Through the air, believe it or not, Mac Hollins was your leading receiver with 4 receptions for 86 yards. No touchdowns from the receiving room.
No receiving touchdowns at all.
No receiving touchdowns at all.
No passing touchdowns.
No passing touchdowns. Not even a passing touchdown from one of these guys, like some of those trick plays bring out. But defensively, couple interceptions to highlight. Taylor Rapp with a big interception, and Taron Johnson. That started the killing spree for the Bills. That eventually just went in the opposite direction, like you mentioned, Dom. But pick 6 right out the gate. Colts' first offensive drive. Joe Flacco's first pass is for a touchdown, but for the other team. And we can't forget to highlight big man Austin Johnson again. A couple weeks ago, we highlighted the thick pick. We got another thick pick from him. He's got more picks on the season than Sauce Gardner.
Same amount as his career as Sauce Gardner, two apiece.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was the career. Mind blown here on the highlights. The MVPs for the game. And T-Bass, by the way, 3 for 3 on the field goals. Got to bring the music back up for him. 3 for 3 on the field goals, 12 points. Long was 47. He did what he needed to do. Bass-O-Matic is back? ? We'll have to wait and see on that one. But those are your most valuable players ending this week's matchup against the Colts. Overall, a good time. Little bit of heart palpitations in the first half.
Little annoyance.
Very much like, what are we doing here in the first half? Like frustration, annoying.
It was very typical of the Bills to kind of start hot and then make a couple blunders, and all of a sudden you're losing, make a couple great plays, and then you force a fumble, you have the ball in field position up 7 in the third quarter, and then right as they turn from commercial, Josh just does a pick, and it's like, that was the definition of Billsy.
Yes. This game was just the roller coaster of not Josh Allen, but it was a Billsy roller coaster. And I don't want another ticket for that ever again because that's just.
Well,
Yeah, I know we're gonna get one.
good luck.
The handlebars are stuck down on us.
8-2. We got 7+ games left because we're probably up, so
I mean, I was this close to pulling a clip from last year's podcast at this time, 5-5. We played "See You Again" by Charlie Puth to kick it off. We thought we were done. Then the news of Ken Dorsey getting fired come through and Joe Brady taking over. Nothing but optimism. But this time last year, we were really rolling in it, and this I'm happy to. I would have been happy to be 7-3 if they lost this game, truthfully. But
I would not have. I mean, this would have been a bad loss.
Don't get me wrong; the loss itself would not have been good, but anything is better than 500.
The Bills did what I mean. We talk about kind of this Bills season in stretches a little bit. Like the first 3 games, they start off 3-0, get a quality win in Miami, pound Jacksonville. That Arizona one actually looks pretty good now looking back at it.
Right.
Kind of have that like, hey, the next 3 games you're on the road, really tough teams, go 1-2 there, but you beat the Jets, which is a division rival, so you're 4-2. And then we said like, hey, these next 4 games are massive opportunities, right? You're against Tennessee at home, not a great team. At Seattle, which is an average team. We didn't know about Tua at the time, but then Miami probably looks pretty, looks to be at least an above average team now with Tua.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually a good win. And then obviously going to Indianapolis, which is again probably your typical average team, but on the road in the NFL is tough. So
yeah,
but you felt like, hey, these 4 games like you are massive. Like if you could get at least 3 of them, really good. They got all 4 of them, which is I think huge for the program. To get to 8-2 because this next stretch is difficult. I mean, you're hosting Kansas City, you get your bye, which is very important, and then you're hosting San Francisco, which again, getting McCaffrey back, probably gonna be a tough team too. So that's back to back, and then they play the Rams in Los Angeles, they play the Detroit, so they kind of have a 4-game stretch now where it's like, okay, we're going to see
the big boy games.
Yeah, and then they have like the last 3 games where it's like they play New England twice and they host the Jets, and who knows what the Jets are going to be.
Right. In New England, the
December.
second time around is going to be probably seeing the Bills backups, depending on how this goes.
Well, potentially, sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, then they end with a good stretch there. But this is the Bills. The Bills are a playoff team. I think these 4 games this month, we're going to see just how good the Bills truly are.
Yes.
Because this is kind of your test, measuring stick, per se. You're going to play San Francisco, who may make the playoffs, may not now. I don't know.
We don't know.
Because Arizona's playing so well. But Detroit, the Rams are a weird team, but they're a frisky team. And then I would say Kansas City is, the biggest measuring stick of them all. The back-to-back defending champs, undefeated. Your conference rival.
You happy they're undefeated coming into Buffalo?
Yes.
I am too.
I think it adds a little bit more to the game.
It does.
It would have been like, what it would have been like? No, I'm being serious when I say this. Sunday Night Football 2020.
Okay.
The Bills, oh my God, were they 9-3? Must have been. They were like 9-3, and the Steelers were 11-0 the week prior. And they lost that funky game to the Washington football team.
I remember that.
And then so they came into Buffalo 11-1. And if they would have been 12-0, I feel like it would have been a cooler game that they were undefeated. And the Bills won the game on Sunday Night Football. It was Taron Johnson got pick 6 on NBC.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a little of a preview to what would happen in the playoffs to Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, same division too.
And it was a pick 6 in this game as well. So
yeah,
I like that. I know we don't want to talk too much about the game.
No, we'll preview that on betting on the Bills.
We'll have a big preview, but I do feel like it adds a little bit more that they're undefeated. The Bills are on a 5-game winning streak. It just means a little more, I think.
Yeah. I do have to make a note of something quick before the Dom 5, then we can get into it. So the narrative this season in the AFC least has been the Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots combined record. No longer, the Bills have a higher win total than all those teams combined. I have to give a quick round of applause here to them because now with the Miami victory, they have 9 wins. The Bills have 8. So congratulations to the AFC least. Finally overtaking the Bills.
Miami has
They're a little frisky with Tua, huh?
They got an easy schedule coming up too, but I think they could get right back in the race.
They might be able to be a wild card team.
I don't think. Listen, I say this, and I really truly mean this. I don't want the Bills to play Miami in the playoffs because it is very hard to beat a team 3 times in a single season.
Mm-hmm. They've done it historically the past few years. Miami twice last year, or no, No, they lost that first
They've
time.
never done it because they lost the Patriots 2 in the regular season.
Oh my
when they
God.
played them. So
How could I forget that game we were at?
it's very it's very difficult beating a team 3 times, a division rival in the playoffs. So, well, it'd be interesting, but that's too far ahead. But going to
Oh, you're waiting on me?
yes,
The Dom
Tom
5.
5. All right, number 1, the Indy curse is broken.
Yes.
Haven't won in Indianapolis since Peyton Manning was a young rookie when Doug Flutie was the quarterback in October of '98. So what was that, 26 years ago? So nice to finally get that win. Josh beats Indianapolis in the regular season, so already beat him in the postseason. So another check off the check again. Indianapolis checked off the checklist of starts for Josh Allen, places where Josh Allen has started a game. I don't really have anything. I just thought it was cool. To say
Yeah,
that.
no, it's cool.
There's nothing really else to say other than
Mm-hmm.
quality win. I mean, I gotta say, I hated it was 30-20 though.
Me too.
It just it just was like, okay. I mean, 10 points is probably the right margin, so I'm not really that mad about that.
Yeah,
It's just
but
like
the Bills were just playing soft. and
really,
just
you're gonna
running
with
down
2
the field.
with 2. I mean, the over people had to be ecstatic. I mean,
I hit the over actually.
oh,
Over 47.
then what the hell are you complaining about?
I'm not complaining. I just for
You
the
just
Bills,
did.
For the Bills' sake, I'm complaining.
But I mean, really, you're gonna moss our kick returner with 2 seconds to go.
Right.
Connington,
Yeah.
who I had to say, not part of the Dom 5, has been really good this year.
He has.
I mean, really has been a really good pickup. That was a big question mark going into the year. Who's going to return kicks? He was terrible.
yeah. He
was
should know
terrible
forward
today.
passes aren't legal on a kick return.
Yeah, fumbled. Took the opening kickoff that was 4 yards back.
Yes.
And we got to like the 22. So I was like, all right, dude.
It was his worst game.
I was like, dude, we
by
lost like
far.
8 yards of field position there. Thank you for that one. And then, yeah, he did not have it. And then he got dunked on. Like, it was like, and then of course, after the game, like it takes about an hour, but the NFL has like highlights, like a 15-minute highlight reel.
Mm-hmm.
And like on YouTube, the picture of like, Bills Colts highlights week 4. Well, not week 14. Sorry, week
10.
Week 10. Sorry, I don't know why I said week 14.
You're thinking your fantasy week.
Yeah.
That's why.
I did.
Yeah.
Week 10 is Alec Pierce mossing Washington.
Yes.
But yeah, sorry, that's a little sidetracky because the next topic, number 2 on the Dom 5,
Mm-hmm.
Martin and Bass, difference makers.
They are difference makers.
Obviously Martin had the big punt, the 60-yard boom. I think he's quietly had a again.
Yeah, after he pulled his hammy last season, he really pulled it together, huh?
Okay. Jesus. I didn't realize that you aged 40 years and became a boomer.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my God. But I mean, again, he was a guy that the Punter Palooza, brought in some competition this offseason. Didn't really know if he was going to be the punter. Everyone, all of us, including ourselves, are like, why do they guarantee his contract? Like, they didn't cut him before his bonus was like a $1.9 million bonus. I was like, why would you?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Why would you do that? And I mean, they proved us wrong. And Bass, I'm not quite ready to say Bass-matic.
That's why I put the
but
question mark next to
he
it.
had some big kicks, some long 40-yarders. Obviously, the kick at the end of the half to go up 7. Monster P. You joke around a little bit, but that was a bit, the Spencer Brown 15-yard penalty, so it was, what, a 48-yard point after.
Yeah.
And listen, it was 16-13 at the time. Like, if he misses that, it's a field goal game, and who knows, maybe the Colts, I don't know what happens. But he was able to get the job done and kick that one through to get them a 4-point lead, which is, again, a big point, to get past, had to have a touchdown to take the lead. So.
Mm-hmm. You think that game winner boosted his confidence even more?
Well,
Like, it's getting him back up there?
How could it
How could it not, right? But, like, I think the more his confidence goes up, the better he's getting.
No, he had a really good game.
Yeah.
So credit to those guys.
Special teams, special plays, special players.
Except Brandon Codrington.
Except Brandon Codrington.
Not a great day.
No.
Number 3, Allen overcomes mistakes. I didn't think it was Allen's best day. I also think the circumstances were very strange,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, you're down Cooper and Coleman. You're playing of 2 practice squad. Well, I guess now Virgil is actually on the 53-man roster, but
Yeah.
Shavers was on the practice squad, got called up. They inactive Hamler because Samuel must have been like, if Samuel's not ready to go.
Who played very well in an actual receiver position, by the way.
I don't know if really well is the right word, but he was solid.
He's serviceable.
That's the best word.
Maybe don't use him as a gadget receiver, and you might get
he
more
was
of that from
serviceable.
him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a work. Like Allen to me, yeah, he got hit on that one throw. Okay, would have probably liked him. I mean, it was a pretty good pass possession. Would have probably just liked him to check that one down earlier in the play because he just held the ball for a little too long. So like, yeah, you can make a case. Oh, he got hit, but I was like, yeah, but he also held the ball, so he was gonna get hit at some point. Holding the ball for that long, it would have been nicer to just get the ball out of his hands, especially the first play of the drive. And then the second play, he just got fooled. It was the same play as the first play of the game, but they hit Samuel for 12 yards, and Kenny Moore made a great play. He's a great player. But, yeah, it was kind of funny that the interceptions were both on the first plays of drives.
Yeah, they were.
But other than that, like, I thought he made a lot of big-time plays.
That big touchdown run, highlight worthy.
Big touchdown run, big throw to Knox over the shoulder when they were down 13-10. Obviously, another big shot to Matt Collins when it was second and long when they were down 13-10. Obviously, the big catch throw to Matt Collins to get them in field goal range at the end of the half.
He tracked the deep ball, Dom. He did it.
And then he obviously had a couple of big-time runs throughout the game. Obviously, the touchdown, the stiff arm on third down, those QB sneaks on short yardage, the second and long run when they were back in the end zone. So it was a good – I think Allen's Day will get a little hated on because the two interceptions were both pretty bad. But I thought overall he made a lot of really high-end plays that they needed him to make. And I don't know, a couple of the plays that were strange that I'm like the broadcast was saying, oh, two guys kind of in the same spot there. And I was like, well, I guess that's what you get for playing, like having to have to play guys that don't normally play, is that they're just not used to the game speed and, you know, not running probably the crisp routes. And so, yeah, definitely, you know, I don't want to talk too much about next week, but with Kincaid potentially, I would assume being out, going down potentially, you know, whoever you want to put Shakir in there, but I don't want to say he's not a top 3 receiver on the team, but 3 of your more important receivers.
Yeah.
3 at least your top 4.
3 that linger at the top of your list.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
3 of your top 4 at least, because I would say Shakir is probably higher than some of them, but for all 3 of those guys to potentially be not playing, it's not great, Bob. Not great. We'll talk about that on Friday.
No, yeah, that'll be a Friday conversation. But
number 4, Holland's most interesting man. I mean, I don't know what to say about Matt Collins.
He's a trash talker.
He's a very interesting guy.
Yeah.
I think
what do you think he's saying? I'm going to put my toes in your mouth, kind of a thing. Like, what is he trash talking? That's the real question.
I'm just gonna let that one fly over my head. No, but you know, gotta give credit where credit is due.
Yeah,
last
seriously.
2 games, 9 targets, 9 catches. You know, we talked about him after the Miami game having a really good, really important game, catching the touchdown, 4th down, making a couple plays. You know, late in the game to get them in field goal range for the win.
Yeah.
You know, in Sunday, more of the same. I mean, makes a couple big plays on long distance plays. Had over 80 yards, 4 catches for over 80. And then, like, I don't know. I feel like he's one of those guys that gets kind of overlooked because you think he's kind of just a big idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Honestly, you think he's kind of like a big goofball. Oh, I don't take elevators. I don't need anything to lift me up.
Mm-hmm. I love that though.
But
I'm trying to think of a comparison. Is it almost a Gronkowski situation?
I always gonna say that. It almost feels a little.
He acts like a brick, but he's like phenomenal.
When the lights are on, he's like, but nothing more shows that than the play at the end of the half because the Bills have a timeout, right? He could have easily like been like, oh, I'm gonna run up field, get tackled in bounds, and we're gonna have to waste our timeout. But like,
he bounces back up and gets right out.
For his ability to like understand time and situation, to be like, hey, catch the ball, get back up, right?
I mean, only Isaiah McKenzie could have done that against the Dolphins all those years ago, right?
Yeah, save the timeout. I mean, they didn't use it. They didn't get anything else because I don't even know what that play call was. I think they were scared that they were going to run out of time. They just went for an out of bounds. It's like, you have a timeout. Like,
get something over the middle.
Like, you couldn't like have like your running back just like delay out of the backfield for 4 yards. Like, I thought that was strange. But yeah, I feel like he's a very interesting guy. And well, I do think some of the stuff gets like over talked about.
Like the barefoot stuff? Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, like, if listen, I'll gladly hear my man everyone talk about his stinky bare feet if he continues to catch and makes big plays for the squad.
Seriously though, he's a character.
He's gonna be big next week. I mean,
he will have to be big next week
because Keon's already out.
Big toe moment for Matt Collins. It's gonna have to be. Keon's out. That's tough. I do enjoy Matt Collins though on the field. He, as much as we were joking, he couldn't track a deep ball a couple weeks ago. The allegations are being dodged after last week, so we're gonna see if that continues. But yeah, he's a character. I like where you were going with the Gronkowski-esque. Like, I'm gonna act stupid, do dumb stuff. Like, you're gonna overlook me, but I'm the sharpest tool in this shed out here right now. I'm gonna get up and out of bounds when I have to. So it's a very, very good comparison. I like that.
Last one, number 5. Not a lot of negatives. I mean, I guess we could talk some negatives after this one, but
yeah.
I thought Groot and Von looked great.
Very good.
I think, listen, you're playing against, I believe they were playing against backup tackles because I know the left tackle got injured. I think, no, that might have been the starting right tackle. He sucked. But Von had a 30% pass rush win rate. He had a couple big pressures in the game.
He was zipping back there.
Yeah, forced Flacco to make some bad throws. Obviously, Groot. Again, just shows in the run game, he's one of, since day one, Greg Rousseau has been one of the best run defenders in the league. I think that gets a little overlooked. I mean, he made a ton of plays in the run game, and then, of course, he comes up with the big strip sack on Flacco, and then he also comes up with the big pressure on 4th down that leads to Quentin Jefferson's sack. So, again, I mean, those two looked great. Again, very similar to Matt Collins. They're going to need both those guys next week against Kansas City because everyone talks about the interior of the Kansas City offensive line, and it's great.
But the exterior.
I mean, but those two tackles, I mean, the left tackle position has been a problem for Kansas City. A problem. And the right tackle, Jawan Taylor, has been, as well. Like, those two guys need to come and play the games of their lives.
They do.
Von plays the game of his life. We're going to win the game because Von's game of his life was the Super Bowl MVP. But
yeah, he won that Super Bowl.
I'm mostly talking about Groot.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I think both those guys, again, I'd like to see Von, what I'm excited for is I feel like in playoff time, you know how, like, when we get to that cold air in December and January, we get playoff Josh Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's
when
like,
it's sub-zero temperatures he's just dialed.
But he's running and, you see the design runs come up, increase a little bit more. It's like, all right.
The stiff arms, shoving, all
like,
that
bro,
stuff. Yeah.
Play like it's no tomorrow. I feel like we're going to get, they're kind of saving Von a little bit. I'd like to see Von unleashed for this game coming up. You're going into your bye next week. You have 2 weeks off. I'd like to see Von start and play a little bit more on early downs because he's still a good run defender. Like, Von Miller has always been kind of an underrated run defender because everyone thinks, oh my God, just an elite pass rusher, which he is. But he's always been very good against the run, and he still is. And I don't know. I feel like having him and Groot out there as many snaps as possible is really important because you got to take advantage of those tackles. And AJ's fine. Like, I mean, he got a sack. I feel like he's been again. I just feel like AJ is just kind of your typical rotational defensive end.
Yeah, and he's more than good at what he does, right? He's out there and he does what he needs to do, but he's not a superstar by any means.
I don't think. Yeah, I just don't think he's
serviceable is another good word for him.
Again, yeah. I would say he's serviceable. He's just.
I think that's the word of the day today. We've used that quite a bit describing a few of these guys.
But he has been serviceable, so I mean, he's been fine. Talking about negatives from the game. Other than the Allen 2 interceptions, I thought they ran the ball pretty well.
The first half run defense.
I'll say this: the pre-snap penalties on the offensive line, like the offensive line, has been pretty good.
Yeah,
but
the penalties have been a constant though.
Dawkins and Brown take
Osiris Torrance gets in the mix there too a little bit.
But he hasn't been recently. He hasn't been bad. Those two guys have been bad.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of false starts. I don't mind the unsportsmanlike conduct.
The Jets game was the worst for that offensive line. First of all, Deion Dawkins just hating the Jets fueled that. But
I don't mind the unsportsmanlike conduct though from Brown. Yeah, they were frustrating a little bit for me because
that wasn't he didn't punch him. He didn't shove him. He just got up in his face.
He probably said something.
But come on, it's just
this is the line. He probably went a little over.
Tiptoed it.
No, he didn't. He took a giant. His 6'8" ass took a giant step up and then back.
Okay, all right.
But no,
He's protecting his boy.
I don't mind that. I just think the pre-snap penalties, they each got called for at least one. I think maybe Deion got called for two. But too many of those to be behind the sticks. But they played really well. The run defense, I don't know. The run defense confuses me a lot, Joe, because like I feel like they're due for every couple of games to give up just a massive run.
Yeah, and of course Jonathan Taylor is the running back too.
And we saw that. And we saw that again. With the big, what was it, 50 yards or I can't remember how many yards it was. Scample, and he had another run where he went for 20 yards. But other than that, like I felt like they did a pretty good job. So it's just weird. Like it felt like two plays kind of give you the mindset, oh, they're getting killed, but then they mostly did a pretty good job of bowing up, especially in the second half. 5 carries for 7 yards. I don't know. I think just my biggest concern is still just the interior pass rush. Like, I thought Ed, the first play, I think, makes a play in the run game where he forced him, Jonathan Taylor to go around and lose a yard or something. And he had a couple moments. I mean, Quentin Jefferson had a sack, but, like, that was kind of, like, more of, like, a coverage and Greg Rousseau forcing him out than, fantastic play from Quentin Jefferson, not taking anything away from him. So, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? Like, I'm still, like, I still need more from those D tackles. And again, they're also going to get really tested next week against Kansas City.
No, you need to see more from them. I want to see more pressure in general from the inside. But everything you said is pretty accurate. The run stopping, you saw even a couple weeks ago, Achane, right? He was skirting through. And yeah, Devon Achane is a grown-ass man. Don't get me wrong. He's going to break through. But you got to be able to neutralize that. Let's look at week 1. Connor in week 1. That was why the Cardinals were in that game. And I'm not saying Kyler Murray wasn't a big part of that, but running backs consistently are what give the Bills most of their grief on these chunk plays, these 10-yard rushes, 10-plus yard ones. So, yeah, I'd like to see a little more run stopping from them. And at Oliver, for sure.
So all the advanced numbers do sit at their top 10 in the league in run defense.
They are, but when they give up a run, it's a big run most of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think so. Here's my thing: is that I feel like every team, if you looked at every team,
they'll give up a big run here.
They give up a big run every once in a while. Like that's just happened. Like one bad play. So I guess that is true. I do think most of the time they're good, but it's like the one, like the Derrick Henry, like you just remembered the.
Oh my God!
Like the Jonathan Taylor, like from that game, everyone's gonna remember. Oh, they gave a 60-yard run, not the the majority of the time that they stopped him at the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the only concerning thing about the defense I thought was third and long, man. I don't know what it is. I feel like
they let them convert.
I feel like they've been giving up a lot of third and long conversions, and part of it I think has to do with the interior pass rush that they're not really getting, because I feel like when Groot and Vaughn, or even if you want to put Epinesa in there, like aren't getting really home on third and long, like they're not getting the interior pressure, so it's like easy for the quarterback to kind of sit in there a little bit.
Yeah, they give.
I don't know. They've just done some weird. Like they had a couple blitzes on third and long. I was like, why are you blitzing on third and long and then creating a 1-on-1? Like I thought that was strange, but other than that,
1-on-1 with DeMar Hamlin.
DeMar's played pretty well.
He has actually.
Yeah,
but he's not the fastest guy. You're gonna create a 1-on-1 with him. It's just.
I'm excited though for next game.
Yeah.
Big news though. Anthony Richardson back at QB1.
Is he?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
100%. We have ended the Joe Flacco experience.
Wait a second. Are you kidding me? You're not.
I'm being 100% serious.
Let's go.
This is not a Levi Wallace got traded to the Commanders situation.
Or an Aaron Judge to the Giants, like when you.
Okay,
when
get
you
out of here with
that.
that. Okay. I'm just going to defend myself on that one. That was a real MLB.
It was a reputable source.
That was a real MLB source that said that. Like I wasn't being a. Like I was being a jerk because I was like I knew I would shiv you, but yes,
yeah, no, A-Rich is back. They should have played him. I feel like.
Here's my thing.
I don't know. Jonathan Taylor runs better with Anthony Richardson if you look at the stats from earlier this season.
There's actually no, that's good for you because you have Jonathan Taylor.
It's very good for me.
But yeah, I think I don't want to harp too much on that because I know what to do with the Sabres, but that situation I feel like there was more to it than just playing the field.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there was kind of like if you're the franchise quarterback, you had to be a leader or whatever, and Kind of feels very Caleb Williams-y to me, but
It does. All right. A-Rich is back. Breaking news. But that's going to do it for our Bills-Colts roundup here. We'll be with you on Friday. We're going to talk some Sabres now, but we'll be with you on Friday for more betting on the Bills action. Listen, Bills-Chiefs, undefeated rolling in. It's going to be exciting. We'll talk all about it, so tune in for that. But the Sabres, this just in, more breaking news. Can't win more than 3 games in a row. It's kind of a little upsetting here. But I thought they'd be on a 5-game heater after their next game. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought they would be able to put 5 together for the first time in a while. I don't know about you. I thought the Montreal Canadiens were like, all right, boom. That's a win.
yeah,
That should have been a win. 7-5.
It's just very frustrating because I remember doing the pod by myself. I was like, yeah, we're 4-7-1. Like, I mean, they have 4 games here coming up. We'll see what happens and we'll talk about it when you get here. And it's like, man, like, I mean, they win 3 games and like, okay, like we're back to 500. Like, let's push over now. And they just can't, right? And we said serviceable for Bills players. I just think frustrating is there's no other better word to explain the Sabres over the season so far through 16 games is that they're just frustrating. I mean, you dominate a division rival in Ottawa. You go to New York, who New York is a good team.
Yeah,
and
you kill them.
Kill them 6-1. You get a really tough, gritty. Oh, you blow a 2-0 lead against the Flames. Oh my God, you have a power penalty kill in overtime, but you kill it. Right, and then you win. UPL
in a shootout.
Stuff. Yeah,
it was a big, exciting, emotional victory.
And then you play Montreal, and it's like Montreal is on like a 6-game losing streak. Sucks. No, sorry, they're 4-9-2 going into the game, and you lose. And I think my frustration with it is just really poor goaltending. UPL is bad. I don't know if, for me, it's a little bit of a situation of he won those 3 straight games, but then they were like, oh, yeah, he was a little, he had a little something. Like, he wasn't 100% right. And it's like, well, then why aren't you starting
Yeah,
Levi?
put Levi in.
But this is my problem, is that they can't trust Levi because Levi sucks, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I shouldn't say sucks, too, because UPL's been pretty good, except
Yeah, he just had a rough game.
he had a rough game.
I just don't understand why.
Levi, we don't know anything yet, but James Reimer yesterday got put on waivers by Anaheim.
Yeah, that might be something the Sabres are looking
if
at.
the Sabres need to claim him and send Levi to Rochester because they don't trust Levi clearly to be the backup.
He needs to play consistently.
He needs to play consistently.
And just put him in He did fine. He was doing really well in Rochester last year, actually. I'm struggling to really understand why that hasn't been a thought yet to figure something out to do that.
I mean, the Sabres
do not carry 3 goaltenders either. I swear to God, if that happens again.
I mean, what's the saying? The Sabres usually are a day late and $1 short.
Yes,
that's kind of what the Sabres do.
Yeah,
and then it's just frustrating because it's like, all right, you were losing multiple times for the game, but then you had leads, right? You're up 4-3. Oh, you're losing, 5-4 going into the last period. I'm sorry, you're down. You're down 4-3 going into the last period. Sorry, you scored 2 goals. You're up 5-4 all of a sudden in the third, and then you give up 2 goals. You give up a goal 5-5, and then your captain takes a stupid penalty, which Dahlin just has to stop doing. He's consistently done that a little bit too much for my liking. Gives up a bad penalty, gives up a power play opportunity, and then that's the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
Right? And to me, it's just an annoyance for the fans because this is the easiest of the 4 games, man. The Canadiens are not a good hockey team.
That would if I looked at those 4 games and was able to pick a lock, it would have been that game.
I mean, you just had an opportunity. You just had a clear opportunity to get to over 500, 871, and
because tomorrow's Blues game is they can win. Yeah, 7:30 tomorrow.
It is the 14th. I thought the 14th was Friday. Yeah, and
that's an attainable victory. You could have been on a 5-game heater or 4-game heater going into it hot.
The reason why they needed to win that game is because Samuelson got banged up, which is kind of a little whatever. I mean, they were on that streak. We could talk about that in a second with the defensive core changes that they did this week. But Tage gets injured, right? And it's like, well, if Tage Thompson misses anytime, they are screwed with a capital S and multiple exclamation points after the D. Like they have no chance, Joe. No chance if he's down. And we haven't really got any official word on it. Someone rumored that hey, this is like they kind of avoided the worst case. It might be a game, 1 to 3 games, but That's another reason why they need to win this game is because like if Tage is gonna miss some time, like they just aren't like they can't lose Tage. Tage is the one. Tage and Darlene are the two players. Well, I guess maybe UPL too. But I guess those three players, your best forward, your best defenseman, your best goaltender. Those three players are probably the three most valuable players in your team. You cannot afford to lose those three players.
Nope.
Can't. And Tage is probably the most valuable, to be honest. Darlene may be the best. I feel like Tage is the most valuable of what's going on with Cousins and all that. Like, they can't lose him. I mean, he was tied for the league leading goals. Like, they can't afford to miss him. And we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's annoying. I liked that he scratched. Bryson has played well. I'd say Jacob Bryson has played pretty well.
He's really showing his worth. Actually, I'm pretty surprised and very happy with that.
Can I ask you a question? What are your thoughts on Dennis Gilbert?
Does that answer your question?
You don't have anything?
No. I don't know. Dennis Gilbert. I don't know. I don't have much to say. Nothing really comes to mind. Why?
I just think it's funny that like everyone's like, oh, we can't scratch Dennis Gilbert. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? Dennis Gilbert's the seventh defenseman. Like, he got in for a couple of games. They aren't winning because of him. I mean, they just kind of have played better.
But he's not like actively contributing to anything on the ice.
And he played 10 minutes against the Flames. So then all your other defensemen had to play significantly more minutes.
Bryson played the most minutes in a Byram, not Bryson. Yeah. Byram. Sorry, two B names. Yes.
It's like Samuelson, for as much fault as he is, he plays 17 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Like that is valuable enough on your third pair. I understand the Yogi Haru thing. I think they should trade Yogi Haru. We've all been in the kitchen sink on that. I don't think they should put Yogi Haru back in. Well, maybe they should now because Samuelson's banged up. But Jacob Bryson, I think, deserves to stay in for as long as he continues to play well with Clifton.
Right. Those two together.
And I guess you have another spot between, Samuelson's banged up, between Yogi Haru and Gilbert. I don't know who you'd give it to, but yeah, just one of those.
I was trying to make a point with my silence. I apologize if I confused you.
No, you're good. It's just one of those weeks where it's like, all right, they win 3 games, and then like we're about to talk about them, and then they just lose a game that they should.
Yeah, and then all the positivity that I was hoping to speak on, and you were as well, just gone.
Yeah,
it's just
kind of,
you can't win more than 3 games in a row.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just like you just lose to the Canadians, who are lifeless in the game where they're actively giving you the game.
Yes,
you just can't get the big save.
They clenched victory from the jaws of defeat, essentially.
Yeah, and the Bills. Oh my God,
the Sabres
just give them the win.
Yeah.
And it's typical Sabres to throw away 2 points. Again, not even push the game to overtime. Nope, we're gonna give up the lead in the third period, and
that's our biggest thing. If you were coming out with overtime points in half of these games, I wouldn't be complaining.
It would have felt a lot better if they lost 6-5 in overtime, and it's like, all right, you went 3-0-1. You got what? 7 of the 8 points, like that's going to do for a week. You would like to get 8 out of 8 because the Canadians aren't a good team, but whatever. What you lose in regulation, you don't even get it, and you're not 500 anymore. You're below 500. It's like that marker. That I don't know. And then looking at their upcoming schedule, it is kind of what is messing me up a little bit is that we're recording this Wednesday morning, and so it is messing me up a little bit because I was like, I thought I just like messed up that tomorrow is Thursday, and
yeah.
So we only have 2 games until we talk about them again. So who knows? Maybe they go 2-0 and they're 9-1.
Hopefully they don't drop a game before we have to talk about them again.
But they host St. Louis tomorrow, Thursday, and then they're in Philadelphia on Saturday. Again, both those games pretty winnable. After that, we're gonna get some Sabres after dark because the next week they're in Los Angeles, Anaheim, and San Jose. So their California road trip.
Yeah,
but yeah, the Blues are very similar to the Sabres, 7-9, kind of a mid team, as you would say. Well, probably below average because they're under 500. And then Philadelphia has gotten off to a bad start too. They're 6-8-2. So all 3 teams kind of in the same spot in the overall standing. So again, big opportunity. Can you win 2 games? Probably gonna do without Tage. So I don't know if I look at chances, but. Again, like these are 4 points that you gotta get.
Yeah,
like if you want to get back into the race, and a lot of people are off to a kind of mediocre start, so they haven't quite fallen behind yet, but they need to start picking up the pace.
100%. Well, hopefully we can talk about it. 2-0 Sabres run. We'll have to wait and see on that. They're going to have to really put it together, and I'm excited for a West Coast road trip. I do enjoy those games watching. So
Sabres After Dark.
Sabres After Dark. We'll be moving on to that soon. But I think without further ado, that's going to do it. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for this edition, I just wanted to see.
Another random silence.
Yeah,
Gilbert.
just wanted to see what was going on. That's going to do it for this edition of the Oh, God. All right, we're spiraling here at the end. It's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali. As always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Lawson. Dom, how do we always end these, buddy?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.